Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Faiza with you with the new lesson of Tajweed. Inshallah, from today's lesson, I will tell you about the raw rules. And in this lesson, we'll talk about the raw whenever you need to pronounce it as thin sound. Because sometimes situations are there when you need to pronounce it as thick sound or thin sound. So we should know what is the rule when we need to pronounce raw as thick sound or thin sound. Okay, let's start our lesson. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Okay, the first rule is for the raw letter is whenever you see the raw has zir under it, see the raw has zir under it, or if the raw has two zir under it, then you will pronounce the raw as thin sound. Remember, first rule is when raw has zir under it or when raw has two zir under it, then you will make thin sound. So we'll practice rijalun, rijalun. This is ri. Ta'rifu, ta'rifu. This is ri. Ta'rifu. Wan nahari. The ri thin sound. Wan nahari. Sharri, sharri. Durriyun, durriyun. This is dhurriyatun. Ri has zir. Ri. Dhurriyatun. Amrin, amrin. If we are pronouncing amrin, the raw will be the thick sound. This is thin. So amrin. Bahrin, bahrin. If you say bahrin, then would be the thick sound. Okay. So the next rule, the second rule is when you see raw has jazm on top and previously is zir, so you will pronounce raw as thin sound. Firstly, we recite raw has do zir or just zir under it. Now we'll see if raw has jazm on top and previous letter has zir, then you will make thin sound. Shir'atan, shir'atan. If we are saying shir, 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 this would be the raw thick sound. But we have to make thin sound. Shir, shir'atan. Fa'anzir. See, raw has jazm on top, previous letter has zir. Fa'anzir. Fasbir. Raw has jazm on top and previous letter has zir. Fasbir. Fasbir. Now, raw has jazm on top, previous letter has zir. Firdausin. Firdausin. Right? Now, the third rule is that if raw has jazm on top, see, we have to pause on it. This is the pausing sign, the ayah sign. We are pausing on it and there would be the jazm on top of raw. Previous letter also has a jazm. Then we'll look at the most previous letter. If it has a zir under it, then we'll pronounce the raw as thin sound. Hijr, hijr, lidhikr, lidhikr. See, if we are pronouncing lidhikr, lidhikr, so that would be the raw thick sound. But we are pronouncing because we are placing jazm on top. We are pausing on it. Previous letter has jazm, but the most previous letter has zir under it. That's why. Lidhikr, lidhikr. Then bisihr, bisihr, because the most previous letter has zir. Khair. This is the fourth rule. If you see there is a, we are pausing on raw letter and previously is ya that has jazm on top and the most previous letter has zabar. Previously in these three words I told you the most previous letter has zir under it. See, that's why we are making thin sound. But now over here most previous letter has zabar on top, but we are making thin sound. Why? Because the middle one letter is ya. If you are pausing, the raw has jazm on top and the previous letter ja has jazm on top, so you will make thin sound. Khair, khair. See, if they will pronounce khayo, khayr. That would be the raw thick sound. But this is khayr, khayr. So this is thin sound. Nadir, nadir. We are not looking at it that the most previous letter has zir under it. We are looking that ya has jazm on top, ra has jazm on top. That's why we are making thin sound. Nadir, nadir. This is qadir, qadir. This is the raw thin sound because ya has jazm on top previously. Qadir, qadir. Okay, so I hope so that you understand the rules of raw whenever you need to make thin sound. Let's revise the rules. Firstly, there is whenever you see the raw has zir under it or raw has do zir under it, then you have to pronounce raw thin sound. When you see raw has jazm on top and previously there is zir, then you will make thin sound. When you need to pause on raw letter, you will check the previous letter has jazm and the most previous letter has zir under it, so you will make thin sound. And when you see there is the raw letter, you need to pause and the most previous letter has zabar, so you will confuse what I do now. So look at the previous letter. If it is a ya with jazm, then no problem, you will make thin sound. So just remember, raw has jazm on top and previously is ya on jazm on top, will make thin sound. Khair. Okay, so these are the 4 rules for the raw to make thin sound. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.